Friday. I call this meeting of St. Vincent to order at 5 p.m. Moving on to letter B, roll call. Executive Assistant Seamer.
President Steenberg.
Here.
Vice President Hinckley. Here. Trustee Ungrad. Here. Treasurer Tute.
Here.
Allocations Chair Stokes.
Here.
Public Relations Representative Webster. Here. Senator Pelkey. Here. Senator Elmy. Here. Senator Greiger. Here. Senator Weber. Here. Senator Spalding. Here. Senator Wen. Here. Senator Flores. Here. Senator Thomas. Here. Senator Weir. Here. Senator Robinson. Here. Senator Simonette.
Excuse.
Advisor Price. Here. Advisor Terhar.
Excuse.
St. John Senate Representative.
Here.
I return my time.
Thank you. Moving on to letter C, opening reflection. Senator Spalding.
Hello, ladies. So today when I was deciding, last week when I was deciding about my opening reflection, I was thinking about this past week, and it's getting kind of into that period of we're getting into finals. It's like, oh my goodness, how did this happen again? And so I thought, I was calling my mom. Mom, I don't know if I can do it this week. This is just too much. And Sarah, seriously, settle down. You're fine. And but that's my mom for you. And she's like, well, think about everything you've done this semester and your time here at St. Ben's. And she's like, okay, if you've done all of that, you can get through this week. You have one presentation. You can do it. So on each of your spots, I have a place card. And on the front, it says how many days you've been at St. Ben's based on your year. So give or take a break here or there. And then on the back side is a little sad, but it's how many days you have left. And so what I want each of you to do throughout the next week is think about what you've done while you've been here. How many different people you've met, how many different perspectives you've heard, and what assignments you didn't think you'd get through, and lo and behold, you're all here, so you did. And then on the back side, I want you to reflect on what are your goals for coming up. For me, I have a semester and a half, not even a half left. So what do I want to accomplish in that time? So just something to keep in mind for the next couple of weeks, and to really reflect about what you've accomplished, and to set some goals of what you want to do for the next amount of time you have here, depending on your year. So that's all I have for you today, and with that, I return my time.
Thank you, Senator Spalding. Moving on to letter D, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. There's been a motion by Senator Weir and a second by Treasurer Tate. Are there any changes to the minutes of last week's meeting? Seeing none, we'll move to vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes stand approved. Moving on to letter E, approval of the agenda.
Second.
There's been a motion by Senator Robinson and a second by PR Representative Webster. Are there any changes to today's agenda? Without objection, the chair will change under Roman numeral 5, letter B from Senator Spalding to President Steenberg. Are there any other changes to today's agenda? Seeing none, we will move to vote. All those in favor of approving today's agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda stands approved. Moving on to Roman numeral 2, guest, letter A, Benny of the Month.
So, as you may all know, myself and Senator Wen have been working on a new initiative, semi-new initiative this year, and it's called the Benny of the Month. It started off as the Benny of the Month, coming out from last year's initiative. And we wanted a way to recognize Bennies on campus that basically live the Benedictine values throughout their day-to-day lives. They're the physical epitome of what it means to be a CSB student. This year, the initiative became different because we decided to not only recognize one Benny, we decided to recognize 4 Bennies. Now, all these 4 Bennies are from different years. So first years, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Now, the way we formulated the Benny of the Month this year was based off the Benedictine values. So in a way that each month, each Benedictine value was the theme. So, for example, this month, the theme was hospitality. Now, the 4 chosen bennies were nominated by their parents, faculty, staff all over campus as the bennies that show hospitality throughout their day-to-day lives. They're the most hospitable bennies you will find on campus. So with that being said, we would like to congratulate all 4 bennies today. And so how this would work is we would say their name and you give them a round of applause, and the certificate will be handed to them by our lovely president here today. Okay. Okay, so the first Benny of the month. This is a first year, Charlotte Frisk.
This honor recognizes Charlotte as a Benny who is a leader in the local community and in our global environment at the College of St. Benedict. And it recognizes Charlotte because of her ethical decision-making and leadership based on Benedictine values. Charlotte exhibits hospitality by being a positive role model throughout her interactions with peers, dialogue, and relationships. Congratulations, Charlotte.
Second Benny of the month. This is a sophomore, and I know her really well because I worked with her, Tracy Magoba.
Likewise, Tracy is a leader in our local and global community at St. Ben's due to her ethical decision-making and leadership, and we congratulate you for living the Benedictine value of hospitality in your relationships, dialogue, and your interactions. Congratulations, Tracy. Well done.
Unfortunately, our remaining 2 bennies of the month were unable to make it. The first being a junior, Johanna Frisbee. She's currently in Germany on a climate conference. Here we go. So she was unable to make it today, but we will still give her a round of applause. And the second is Annie Johnson, and she's a senior. I will also give her a round of applause to recognize her. We would like to say thank you to all the bennies that showed up today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come to the Senate today, and we hope you stay for the rest of the meeting. With that, I return my time.
Thank you. And thank you so much also to President Hinton for taking some time out of your busy day to be here with us to recognize these awesome
Thanks
bennies.
for all you do as leaders at St. Ben's. You're the reason why we excel. And I get very emotional seeing you all in your red shirts as leaders, so I'm going to go before I cry. But do know how grateful I am for all each one of you do. And congratulations on being such strong leaders at St. Ben's. Have a great meeting.
Thank you. In addition, these bennies will also be honored by lighting the Christmas tree at Christmas at St. Ben's this year. So that's a great honor. Moving on to Roman numeral 2, letter B, Ashley Wilson.
Hello. Today I am talking about the SLS conference that Focus has going on in January and asking for some funds for this. So just kind of a quick background. For those that don't know me, my name is Ashley. I'm a senior here on campus. I presented as CSB coach for JC a few weeks ago, and I'm also a Focus Bible study leader. So Focus is, their reason is to know Christ Jesus and fulfill his greatest commission. And so they do this by inviting college students into a growing relationship with Jesus Christ and his church, inspiring and equipping them for a lifetime of Christ-centered evangelization, discipleship, and friendship in which they lead others to do the same. And then they do this by having small group Bible studies, one-on-one discipleship, retreats, conferences, all of that mix. And so they've been at the St. John's campus for 4 years, and they've done the digital campus for 2 years here at St. Ben's. So what that means is there are 3 seniors here on campus that connect with a Focus missionary digitally, so via Skype, and then those Focus missionaries are equipping those 3 seniors to be leaders here on campus to help with the Bible study leaders. And so we have over 200 students that have attended a small group Bible study. 80 have attended regional or national conferences. 13 CSB Bennies have walked together with missionary or peer and one-on-one discipleship. So these numbers are just to kind of give you an idea of how much Focus has done on our campus in terms of that community. So kind of a background, in 2016 we did a trip to SLS. And we had 4 Bennies go, and out of those 4 Bennies, 3 of them led campus Bible studies. Coming back from that conference. And then coming back from Seek 2017, so this was this past January, there was a large group of us that went down to Texas for this. And coming back, we now have 55 Bennies on campus that are in Bible studies, and 6 Bible studies being run by 2 leaders, so there's about 12 leaders. And so that just has grown immensely from having 3 Bible studies to 6, obviously is double that number. And with SLS in 2018 now, this conference is all about equipping the leaders and preparing them to be Bible studies. To lead Bible studies on campus and just be leaders in their faith. And so it happens January 2nd through the 6th in 2018 in Chicago. There will be 10,000 college students and 3,000 clergy, religious, lady, all that. There will be a prominent Catholic speakers that will discuss issues that are important to college students, and will teach college students, again, how to be leaders in their faith so they can learn practical ways to lead their friends and classmates in their faith journeys, both in college and beyond. And so our primary goal for this is to have 15 Bennies and 15 Johnnies attend, and to kind of fundraise all the transportation costs and decrease the amount that students will have to personally pay or fundraise. And so with this, we currently have 15 students registered and 10 of them are Bennies. And so just kind of like a cost breakdown for you of what this kind of looks like. We got the gas price of $9.50, parking $500, food and drink during that transportation time of $300, fundraising supplies so students can fundraise that cost. Student registration, and for those 10 Bennies is $4,990. So registration cost per Benny is $499. And looking for student senates, we plan to ask, today asking you guys to provide $1,500 for this, and then St. John's Senate for $1,500. And then we're also asking Knights of Columbus, and the remaining of that cost will come from student fundraising letters and student payments. So you can see that cost breakdown of 50% of travel would be covered, and then the registration fees within that $1,500. And so our impact from all this is having that continued success of campus ministry programming on both campuses, increasing the desire for students to walk in faith with others, creating that greater community and that deeper understanding of discipleship and what that looks like on our campus. For me personally, Focus has made a huge impact and has allowed me to grow as a leader in my faith and know what that even looks like, and how to lead a Bible study and walk with others in their faith journey. So with that, are there any questions?
Are there any questions for our guests today? Senator Robinson.
Hi, thank you for coming. I just wanted to know if there will be any involvement from campus ministry, and if so, are they contributing in any way?
So my understanding of how Focus works within the St. John's campus ministry is that they're like contractors is kind of like a way to look at it. And so there's not funding within the campus ministry, St. John's campus ministry for this, and for a lot of the things that Focus does. And so that's why we're here asking for money today. And I don't know any information in regards to CSB campus ministry, but my understanding is that there's not funding available for that, and so that's why we're asking for it. Thank you.
Before you return your time, do you want to yield your time to Senator Pelkey?
I work at St. John's Campus Ministry, so I can clarify that a little bit.
Thanks.
Yeah, basically we can't provide any funding for that because Focus is a separate entity from campus ministry. And St. Ben's campus ministry doesn't operate with Focus, so they won't be providing any funding either. Return my time.
Are there any other questions for our guest, Senator Greiger?
Thanks so much for coming. I'm wondering
Earlier in your presentation, you stated like the goal is 15 Bennies and 15 Johnnies, but I mean, currently looking at the registration, it's 10 and 5. Are the 15 per campus like set numbers, or is it going to be based off of interest levels?
I believe it will be based off of interest levels. I think the focus is a lot more at St. John's, and so the fact that Johnnies are, I think we're actually now up to 6, because I think one registered today for the Johnnies. That imbalance is not something that like is needed to be of concern. They'll get the Johnnies up. But yeah, I don't think that number is strict guideline. I think it's in general, just like that's our goal, and we'll see how many people are interested. Focus doesn't want to restrict someone from having this opportunity.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Senator Thomas.
Hi, can you go back to the breakdown?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. Here you go.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our guests today? Senator Spalding.
I just have a clarification. So
Yeah.
I'm not very familiar with Focus. So is it a student-run organization, or how would you define yourself exactly?
It's outside nonprofit organization is my understanding, and we're bringing Focus missionaries in onto campus. And so their larger company organization has this conference that's happening that we're going to. Does that help clarify things?
Yep. And then just one follow-up. So, like, what is your role within that structure? I'm just trying to figure out like the structure
Yeah, no,
on
absolutely.
campus.
So there are four actually, Focus missionaries over at St. John's. Here at St. John's, we don't have any physically on campus, and so I work with 3 other seniors who connect with Focus missionaries digitally, and so I'm just like one of the student leaders on campus within Focus.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for our guests today? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to letter C, open forum. Are there any guests wishing to address the St. Ben's Senate today? Seeing none, we will move on to Roman numeral 3, board report. Letter A, president's report. Without objection, the chair will now pass.
I accept.
All right. Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. I'll try not to make this too long. I know that we have Thanksgiving dinner tonight. That being said, I really do encourage you to engage very thoughtfully with our debate and discussion tonight, even though there may be a little bit of pressure to get out tonight. Really do think critically about what we have in front of us. I'd first like to just make a note on our SLS, not their SLS, and just say thank you so much to everyone who came. We got really good feedback from the post-event surveys. So I think that overall it was very successful. I'd like to give a special thanks to Libby, Sarah, Amira, and Noman, who all helped me a ton to prepare for the event. Couldn't have done it without them. They really were essential for me. Also, I know we have special elections coming up. Well, currently it's Packets Week. So if you have people who are thinking about running for Senate, encourage them to do so, or people who you think would be really good at it. Special shout out to Senator Weir. She made a nomination form for us. So if there is someone that you think would be an exceptional senator, fill out that form. We'll be able to send them the reason why someone thinks that they're really good to run, and say, we strongly urge you to consider running for Senate. And I know that that's an initiative that Senator Weir got interested in last year, so it's really awesome to see that come to fruition this semester. We have tabling tomorrow. So far, we only have people signed up for like one shift on there. So if you're available, it's from 11 to 1. If you're available in that time, please do sign up. We need at least one person there for each shift. I'll also be holding an info session tomorrow in here at 9 p.m. So that'll be after the Board of Trustees meeting. Fairly brief, I think, like half an hour to 45 minutes, but it's not mandatory, like just if you're interested and want to talk to some people about Senate, think about showing up. Also shout out to PR Rep Webster for putting all of our special elections things together. Also just a note, the Minnesota Association of Private College Students is having their conference on December 2nd. I brought it up last meeting. For student leaders to talk about various topics, including mental health, best practices of student governments. And so there's one more spot left. So if anyone is interested, come talk to me after the meeting or shoot me a note. And I will send you the registration link. And then the last thing that I just want to address, I think that we're kind of getting to a slump in the semester, which is really understandable. It's a really hard time of year. The weather is changing, the time is changing, the time change makes it dark. And it's kind of at the point where like, I've been trying on this one thing for so long and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and might be a little discouraging. So I just want to bring out some of the points that Ryan actually made this weekend for you all to think about. And I'll be sending out a little exercise after probably tomorrow or Friday for you all just to reflect more on your time on Senate, the time that you have left. Maybe we can talk about it a little on the 29th after the meeting, which is our next meeting. So just things to think about are, what is the story that you tell yourself about why you joined Senate? Think back to when you were considering running. What did you want to do? What was the reason that you wanted to be on Senate? Are you still living out that story? And if not, why not? And if you are, how can you continue that in a sustainable manner? So just some things to think about, and I'll send out a little, thing to help guide you through that reflection as well. And with that, I return my time.
Are there any questions for President Stonebridge? Senator Weber?
Not a question, but I really want to acknowledge how much thought you put into your reflections every week. Every week there's something different and there's something insightful and thoughtful, and I really appreciate that. They actually I don't know, a lot of people will give me motivation. I'm like, oh, that's a nice thing to say, but you really take the time to articulate it really well, and I really appreciate that. And
Here.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, Senator Greiger.
Again, not a question, but thank you for all your work with SLS. It was not an easy task to plan such a large summit, so thank you for all you did. I think it was a huge success. I've heard nothing but great things. I return your time.
Any other questions? Seeing none, the chair will pass back.
I accept. Moving on to letter B, advisors report. Advisor Tara.
All right, just a couple of things. Just to continue the comments regarding the SLS, I think it went very, very well. I thought Ryan did a great job. And I took probably about 2 pages of notes, even though he said not to, but I did. I thought he just had some very good things to say in terms of thinking about who we are when we bring ourselves to projects, to people, to our day, right? And especially important for November, which is kind of just a month during the school year. But I also do want to recognize Mary Catherine and the rest of you who are part of making this happen. I think people may not know, but I think that the fact that everything went so well on Sunday morning, right? Was because of a lot of work and some late night efforts on the part of a few people who are around this table to make sure things went really smoothly. But the professionalism that Mary Catherine shows and the rest of you showed during your participation, I think just reflects really, really well on this group, on St. Ben's, and on each of you as individuals. So do want to make sure that all of you get recognition, but do also want to thank Mary Catherine for her particular leadership and her willingness just to do what needs to get done. And to pick things up to make sure that things go as smoothly as they can, even when it's not fully her responsibility to do so. So thank you very much. Two other things, Christmas at St. Ben's happens right after Thanksgiving. It's November 28th. And I hope that many of you are able to come. I know there are night classes, and I don't know what the weather will be like on that day, but it really is a very special event for St. Ben's to welcome the Christmas season. And so if you're able to be there to join the people who are going to be lighting the lights on the big, beautiful tree that will be arriving next week. I hope that many of you are able to be there. All the advertising has initially started going out, and more will come. I also want to encourage each of you to take time over the break that is coming next week, whether you get to leave on Friday early or you're going to be here till Monday or Tuesday. Please use that little bit of a break to rest, to rejuvenate, to reconnect with the things and the people who are important to you, so you can come back and really face the remaining weeks of this semester with as much energy and positivity and hope that you're able to bring to the table. And for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Lastly, I had a conversation with somebody today who's in San Diego, so their day was beautiful, and I looked out my window, it was gray and windy. But she was talking about a really, really significant change that their institution went through. And her starting comment was, everybody says they want change, but really, it's very difficult for most people. Change is really, really hard. And they did a really, really significant multi-month change. That affected a lot of people, and not necessarily in bad ways, but in ways that change things. And she said that the mantra that they took through this process really was helpful, because when things got tough or when things seemed difficult, they turned to kind of this model that they had created for this process they had committed themselves to. And I think there's something in this model that I think also relates to the work that Senate does, and sometimes the roadblocks and the challenges and the reluctance and just sometimes the work isn't easy to keep in mind. So I share this with you in that spirit. So that they had a 3-phrase kind of model that they used and turned to. The first was, imagine with all your mind, believe with all your heart, and achieve with all your might. And with that, I return my time.
Thank you, Advisor Terahar. Are there any questions for Advisor Terahar tonight? Seeing none, thank you very much. Advisor Kleist.
Thank you. All right, I have one thing for you today, and it is adding to your to-do list, but I think it'll be fun, and I have a surprise for you in 2 weeks. So here's my proposal, and it's something you know that I have been interested in for a long time. It's gratitude and kindness. And so I have little stickies to hand out tonight. I'm going to ask you to take up to 5 of 2 different colors, and during 5 days of the next 2 weeks, and I know you're really busy right now, but write down one kindness that you've done for somebody that isn't something you would have done otherwise. Because I've done this before, and I know it's easy to get to the end of the day and say, what did I, oh yeah, I did something nice here. No, it doesn't count. It has to be a deliberate kindness that you've offered maybe somebody who would not be anticipating it, and one thing for which you're grateful. And I would also ask you not to say, I know you're grateful for family and parents, but go beyond that and think beyond about somebody or something you're grateful for. And then as you do this on those 5 days, put those 2 colored notes up somewhere where you will see them regularly and remind you, and do it 5 times. And then, if you would, before the next meeting, if you have anything to say about this and report out about it, I'd become interested in learning about that. But I also want to know who does that. I do have a little surprise for you 2 weeks from tonight. So, all right? And I know we have big hearts in this room, and I know it's busy, but what resonates with me is when you are most busy that you need to make time to say thanks and to be kind to others. So I would ask you to remember that. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Advisor Kleist? Seeing none, thank you very much. Moving on to letter C, Executive Board Report, PR Representative Webster.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. President Steenberg covered a majority of the things that we talked about in our executive meeting last night, but a couple other things we discussed was the Benny of the Month and how that was all going to shake out, and how they would be coming to the meeting today along with President Mary Dana Hinton, which is really cool that she's able to come tonight. And then the other major thing we talked about was special elections, and specifically the nomination process that's happening right now. I sent out an email yesterday with a link for people to be able to nominate bennies, and that link was sent out to St. John's and St. Ben's and faculty. And we've gotten a lot of nominations, which is really exciting. So we're just talked through how letting those bennies know that they were nominated would kind of go. So we'll be sending an email to each one of those bennies saying that they're nominated, and if the person who nominated them didn't want to be anonymous, we'll share the who and why, and the nomination process ends on Friday at noon, just to give bennies who are nominated last minute to get their packets in by 8 p.m. And I personally would just like to give a little shout out and thank you to everyone who worked on the new campaign guidelines. They look really good, and it is a huge, huge help to me, so thank you.
Are there any questions for PR Rep Webster? Senator Weber.
For the nomination, could we nominate someone or no? Because would it be considered like, endorsing? No? Okay. I yield my time.
You could always just suggest to that person that you think that they would be a good fit, but I think with our guidelines, it's endorsing if we send in a recommendation.
Maybe we should have a longer discussion about this afterwards. I have thoughts. Sorry, there we go. Are there any other questions for PR Rep Webster? Seeing none. Was there one other thing that you wanted to add?
I was just gonna say it later.
Okay. Okay. We will move on to letter C, co-funding board report, club allocations, Chair Stokes.
So CSB actually had a short meeting this time. It was under an hour, which was great. We allocated $200 to the pre-law club for their mock trial registration, $225 to Archipelago Association for their t-shirts for the Festival of Culture Dancers, $280 to Up Till Dawn for their food for their event, and $90 again to the Archipelago Association for their DJ for the after party. Return my time.
Are there any questions for club allocations, Chair Stokes? Seeing none, we will move on to letter E, budget update, Treasurer Taze.
So our current budget is $20,566.94. One more time. $20,566.94. Thank you, I return my time.
Are there any questions for Treasurer Taze? Seeing none, we'll move on to letter F, St. John Senate update, Senator Dorr.
Thank you, President Steenberg. Short update today. Thank you guys for having me here. We had a really short meeting on Monday. It was under a half hour, which was pretty nice. But our only allocation was for $120 to the Movember Challenge, which was basically spearheaded by Andrew McGee, Senator Andrew McGee, which is a photo contest for the Movember beards. And the $120 was going towards an incentive, Gary's gift cards for prizes. And that's it.
Are there any questions for Senator Dorr? Vice President Weekly.
Not a question, just thanks for being here with us. I return my time.
Any other questions for Senator Dorr? Seeing none, thank you very much. Moving on to letter G, open forum. Are there any senators wishing to address the Senate? Senator Weber.
Okay, hi guys. It's been a really rough week for me. I don't know about you guys, but when I was putting this together, I was like, wow, I don't know. Okay, anyways. So I'm here to talk about my goals, right? Okay. So I met with President Steve Bridge. Sorry. Okay, I'm having a moment. I met with President Steve Bridge on Friday. And can you come back to me?
Yeah, I can come back to you. Do you return your time?
Yeah, return my time.
Senator Beer.
Hello, ladies. So yeah, as you heard twice now, the nomination form is now created and out there in the world, which is something that I'm very excited about. And so how this came to be, just to like give more background on like why you should all nominate people, if that becomes a thing we can do, or why you should tell your friends why you should nominate people, they should nominate people, and your professors to nominate people, is because as we talked about last week with Brandon, when we get into the joint Senate meetings, there's like a different energy that women have in terms of power and leadership, and like this just kind of branches onto it, and like women don't necessarily see themselves in positions of power all the time, and that's something that we have like been society trained, and there's a lot of gender roles and blah, yada, 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 but this is an opportunity that, or this emphasizes to women what their leadership potential is. So if you use our last election process, for example, we had an open seat of a sustainability rep, and so clearly on campus, women looked at that and said, well, there's probably someone out there who's better at that role than I. And then we said, no, we need someone to fill this because no one ran for it. And then 6 women ran for that position. And this has happened multiple times in the election process of the St. Ben's Senate, in the sense that someone does not run for a seat, and then we ask again and say, we need someone to run for this seat, and then like many women run for that seat. So
this is a way so we can have those many women come to the table immediately, and as soon as that first election thing goes out, and recognize that all the women on this campus have insane leadership potential. So this is a way to recognize that for all of them. And so please have your friends nominate other venues. And then other projects that I've been wrapping up with my remaining 4 weeks of Senate is Joint Faculty Senate. I have been in communication with them and talking with MC about ways that we can better operate, as there are 3 Senates on this campus and 2 of them interact pretty well, and one of them kind of just does its own thing, and that's awesome because faculty need to do their own thing, but it'd be nice to help create a better communication system between the Faculty Senate and the students, just because we both coexist under the same, and then Joint Club Board had our presentation on Sunday, and that went pretty well, as well as I kind of expected it to. And so we also have Lifting Club is a proposed club that we're meeting with tomorrow to see whether or not they are going to become a thing. So that's interesting. And then side notes of JEC installed, orientation coordinator positions are out and looking for people to apply. So if you are going to be on campus next year, please apply to be an orientation coordinator. 2 people around the table who did it, one for less time than the other, but it's a pretty interesting and good experience, so you may want to apply for that if you can. But I would do my time.
PR Representative Webster.
Hi again. So these are just kind of a couple things I've been doing. Special elections, obviously. And then the board and the HGC is updated. I still have to add a couple of people's names because when it was updated over the summer, thank you, Senator Greiger, there were a couple names, like we didn't know who was in those positions yet, so I have to add those. And just some like reoccurring things I do every week. I create and send the record ad to be in the record every week, as well as I send out and kind of update the agendas that are sent out, and I've been posting those on Instagram lately. And I've also been starting to post on our social media more. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Maybe one day we can just take my phone around and you guys can all go follow your friends or something. Because I've been trying to gain followers by just following people, but then there's always some sort of hesitation about that. So today, for example, with the help of my assistant Sydney, we started our Meet Your Senators again, and Senator Pelkey was highlighted yesterday, so it's exciting to see. And then one just random thing I did was I ordered a tablecloth with a black tablecloth with our logo on front of it, and it should be here after Thanksgiving, so I'm really excited about that. That will be really cool to have whenever we're tabling.
Senator Weber.
Can I try again? So I met with MC for the mid-semester meeting, and I just started to think about what I've been doing this semester, and I'm leaving next semester. So I've really been trying to focus on transition notes for Sarah so that she can really just hit the ground running. Because I think that we all kind of come into these roles and we have all of these ideas and all of these goals, and then democracy is a thing, and so you realize you can't accomplish all those things in your short amount of time you have. So I've been trying to focus on my committees, and for academic affairs, I've been trying to gather all contacts and information I can pass on to Sarah, so she can really know who to contact for what reasons. I met with Richard Ice, and then I have a meeting scheduled with Barb and just the people in that field as well. So for FAP, my committee, we actually had some performers who are not coming for spring, so we're trying to figure that out for FAP. And so I met with them last night, and for the committee, Diversity and Inclusivity Committee, we do our event, so we're reaching out to people, and I'm a part of that as well. And yeah, so that's all that I have. I return my time.
Are there any other senators? PR Representative Webster.
Hello. There's something I forgot to say in the exec one and then in my personal form. Last night we also talked about during the exec meeting the CARE workshop that President Steenberg and Treasurer Atete and one other person, Senator Soda, attended last year, and so we were just kind of talking about if that is something that we want to bring for both the Senates to engage in together. I'm not 100% sure on the details of the workshop, but I don't know if you want to speak to it a little, Treasurer.
It's an anti-racism workshop.
Senator Thomas.
Okay, guys, so FOC is this Saturday. It's from 5 to 7. The sign-up sheet went out last night. So I just encourage everybody to sign up and come, and we'll have people at the booth, but we'll also have people like actually on the floor inside, really getting to interact with people and build relationships with the students. And I know we have those goals and everything that we're working on, but FOC is fun and it's a good experience too. So if you're going to volunteer for anything, this would be a fun one to do so. So I really encourage everybody to come and really enjoy themselves and get our, everybody come and sign up and have fun. I want to yield my time too. So
Can you speak to what like our roles will be at FOC as like Senate volunteers?
Okay, so we're working with IISS, and so like with the meeting where I presented, we'll have the pamphlets, and we're really working on, there's the issue that comes from FOC that people feel like there's not a lot of interaction or genuine interaction there. They just come and they just get food or they just watch as if it's a circus. So we really want to encourage that interaction and really trying to learn about people's different cultures. So overall, that's what we're kind of doing. And while we're helping them, we're also working on goals that we have to really build a relationship with students. And so you'll be there. So there's a booth like when you're coming in. So we'll be right in the front when students are coming in to kind of hand pamphlets and things like that. So they'll have people at the booths. And then you'll have people actually on the floor. It takes up the whole field house. So there's a big space to have people in different areas. So it's not guaranteed that we're going to catch everybody at the door or that they're going to do it anyway. So you can be there, you can encourage people to be at booths. You can build a relationship with people at the booths yourselves. It's really get that interaction going and really encouraging students to do so inside as well if we don't get them at the door, you know, because it's so many students.
Great, thank you. I return the time.
Do you want to yield your time?
Yield my time to Senator Robinson.
So when we get there, would you like us to either report to you or go find Chelsea and Keandra to see where they need us to be?
It'll probably be easier to come to me. I'll be there the entire time. I think that's the best way to do so. And I'll talk to those two, and then it'll just be easier. You can just have one person that you know and can come to. So you just come to me. I'll just let you know. I want to yield my time to Senator.
Could you explain more about like how the numbers are going to work? So how many senators will be at the booth at a time, and like is it St. Ben senators or just St. John senators or a mix, or and who's going to be on the floor?
Okay, so there's going to be 6 senators at each area. So the booths, and actually on the floor there'll be 3 Bennies, well CSB senators, 3 SJU senators. You can't crowd the table too much. If people do find a time that's better for them, like I'm not against more than 3 senators being there, but I'd rather you be on the floor than at the door because it can get crowded. So if you do, that time does work better, or rather be on the floor because it's a bigger space to cover. So it'll be 6 senators per time there as the CSB, and then 6 SJU senators per time, volunteer time.
Sorry, on that note too, if you do sign up before Friday, you will receive an email from the ISS office telling you like what time to be at the HEC field house. So, your time.
see it once every Senator Woman.
Do we have a dress code for that?
It's really casual. I wasn't able to get everyone volunteer shirts. It was ordered kind of before I was able to get like things together.
Maybe we could wear Senate t-shirts?
With that, I would say no, just so it doesn't become a Senate thing. Like, I just don't wanna, I wanna be respectful while we're there and help and not kind of take over. We really
Well,
want.
we are gonna be there in a Senate capacity, right?
Yes. But I just don't think it's appropriate to, you know, it's really focused on FOC. So if you come in there and you have your Senate stuff on and things like that, I think it would be a problem. We are coming as senators. I would say that you can wear your name tag and maybe just a solid shirt or something like that. I believe the FOC shirts are white. So if you want to wear a white or black shirt, and I'll see how many shirts are available even after, but I just don't think it's appropriate to wear the Senate shirt like that. Because you're coming as senators, but to help FOC is not so, I don't want to make the focus so much on the Senate, if that makes sense.
Okay, trustee Algar.
Hello, ladies. Tomorrow's the trustee dinner. It's at 5:30 at SJU. I sent out an Outlook calendar invite, so it has all the where you need to be. If you've accepted, you can look on your Outlook. Just a little side note, wear your name tags. That's really important, so do not forget your name tags. Dress code, it's business. So what I would say, like what I'm wearing right now is appropriate, minus the Senate t-shirt. So wear some, just a solid t-shirt, you know, or a blouse. And I made a small little like how to dress business, and I'll send that out if anyone needs help. If not, just text me. But dress nice. It's business attire. And when talking to trustees, they'll ask your opinion on certain stuff. Just be honest. Say what you would like to say. And another thing is address by last name usually. So if I see Mary Thompson, I usually address, hello, Miss Thompson. That's something, a side note. If anyone has any other questions, just come to me after the meeting and I can address all your questions or return my time.
Do you want to yield your time first to Vice President?
Yeah, I yield my time.
Is the dress appropriate with like tights and heels?
Yep.
Okay.
Most of the time, the trustees will, the men usually typically wear suits, and then the women will wear dresses with tights or heels, dress pants. So if you feel comfortable wearing heels, like what I'm wearing right now, I feel like I would be comfortable. But it's really up to you. I yield my time to Treasurer Tate.
And if you do need something, do not be shy to stop by the Benny Career Closet. I return my time.
Are there any other senators wishing to address the Senate? Seeing none, we will move on to Roman numeral 4, new business, letter A, motion to allocate $1,500 to Focus for the 2018 Student Leadership Summit.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion by Senator Weir and a second by Senator Wen. Senator Weir, your first speaking term.
I was not aware of the impact that Focus has on this campus, or that it existed, so I thought that was really cool of Ashley to explain the impact that this has on students who are involved in the ministry aspects or project study aspects on campus. When looking at their budget breakdown, I do notice that they did 50% of travel instead of 60%, so I was wondering how we would like to discuss that, and just any other thoughts on this. I'm not sure where I stand on it as of right now, so I would love some thoughtful debate with all of you wonderful women. I return my time.
The floor is now open for debate. Are there any senators wishing to address the Senate? Senator Greiger.
Senator Weir, I think you brought up like a wonderful point. We are requesting only 50% and we do cap at 60%. But I am like very, very, very comfortable at that 50% level. They requested 50%. I think we should honor their request that they gave us. And then also our budget's a little tight, so I'd encourage us all to be like thinking fiscally being responsible with our budget, so I'm comfortable with the 50% that they are requesting from us. I return my time.
PR Rep Webster.
Yeah, I agree with the aspect of the travel, and then the other portion of the funds that we'd be contributing would go to registration fees. And that does fall under our guidelines as well as our guidelines say not to exceed $1,800. So looking at the guidelines, I'm in favor of funding this.
Senator Thomas.
Sure.
Treasurer Tate. Sure. Are there any other senators wishing to debate this motion? Seeing none, we will move to vote. On motion to allocate $1,500 to Focus for the 2018 Student Leadership Summit. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 14-1-0. Moving on to Roman numeral 5, announcements. Letter A, the next meeting of the St. Ben's Senate will be on Wednesday, November 29th at 5 p.m. Letter B, President Seabridge will attend the next St. John's Senate meeting on Monday, November 20th at 9:20 p.m. Moving on to Roman numeral 6, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. There's been a motion by Senator Robinson and a second by Treasurer Tate. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.